Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. So we start now? Okay. Good morning. My name is Mark Weitzel. Like many folks who work with OW2 and open source, I have two roles. I have sort of my day job, which is Director of Platform and Ecosystem of Jive Software, and I'm also the President of the OpenSocial Foundation. And it's in that role that I'm going to talk to you today about OpenSocial, about moving beyond traditional portals into this idea of social middleware. And so really we're going to talk about four things or so. We're going to talk first about this idea of social middleware and what exactly it is. Then we're going to talk about social applications. We heard the earlier speaker talk about sort of on-demand type of applications that can be delivered. And we're going to talk about how that changes when you have a social layer there. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what OpenSocial is. It's a standard, and we're going to talk about what it does. And then, of course, why standards are awesome. Awesome, right? Okay. So in the old days, right, we had all of these systems of record in our enterprises, right? And they're all sort of siloed, whether they're HR systems, whether they're CMS systems, it doesn't matter. They're all there, and you sort of go to each one, and you use each one, and you jump around, and that's it. But they're all sort of siloed. And today, for some crazy reason, right, everybody wants to be friends, right? And we have this notion of people and connectedness and relationships, right? And we're conditioned to this now through Facebook and Twitter and things like that, right? So this notion of activities and having a stream is permeating everything that we do in our consumer world, right, in our private worlds. And it turns out that as we go into enterprise and as we go to work, right, every day, we have these same concepts. We have these same things that are there in our work, right? We have, the profile, the things that we're good at that we want to advertise and let people know about. And we have also the relationship, the connectedness that we have between people in our organizations, often way outside of our org chart, right? The people that you work with on a daily basis often aren't in your direct organizational chain. Right? Our structures are very, very different. And of course, you have that stream of information that flows that you need to be aware of, things that are happening either around the content of the documents you're following or the people of what's happening, right? So all of these things that we see now in the social world that we're so accustomed to really surface themselves inside our enterprise as well. And so what a social middleware platform does, fundamentally, is allow you to change these systems of record into systems of engagement, right? It starts to be that glue that ties all of these things together. And of course, you have to be open, right? So there are two major projects in open source that are driving social middleware. One is Apache Shindig, right? That's an open source reference framework, and Apache Rave, which is an open source reference implementation. Takes Shindig and sort of fills in the gaps and make it much more consumable, right? So now we have an open platform for building social middleware. And so what is OpenSocial? And that is excuse me. OpenSocial is an industry standard. So it started back in 2008 in the consumer world with Google and Yahoo and a few others. And it was really this idea of building an open community around a consistent platform and social layer, and that you could now start to take and build social applications. And it was around that time in 2008, 2009, as large enterprise vendors like IBM and SAP and Jive and others were looking at this saying, we have a portal model today, and that portal model is very, very constrained, right? I get a little box on a dashboard, and what we're seeing now is the move away from dashboards into streams, right? We're seeing this ability to deliver components that have a social context inside of them, right? That are aware of the connectedness and can use that information intelligently in their business logic. Okay? And that's what we mean when we talk about a social business application, right? It's a cloud-based service that leverages that social context, that connectedness between things, the relationships that you have as a fundamental underpinning of business logic, right? And there's lots of examples of these things, right? So for example, coworker recognition is one of my favorite examples, because how often do you go into your annual performance review and try to tell your boss, well, no, this is what I did, and they're like, what, you did that? Where did you do that, right? And they didn't know. And so having the ability to be recognized by your peers and have that virally spread throughout your organization and have that accumulated naturally, inherently as part of the business logic of that new way to do HR systems, now that's a very powerful model and a very powerful mechanism for you to be recognized and have more visibility. And we talked about this just a few minutes ago, right? Having a standard-based component model now allows, exciting new economics of delivering applications into an enterprise, right? You no longer have to buy the big monolithic, packaged software suite. You can buy and use only what you want to use. And when you're done or you don't like it, you get rid of it, right? So the same consumer model that we're starting to be used to with our phones, right, we're starting to see happen in the enterprise, right? We can change the way we deliver fundamentally applications into the enterprise, and we can allow those applications to use that social context and be aware of that connectedness inside of our enterprise. And of course, standards are awesome, right? And the reason they're awesome is for the same, is because they foster competition. They allow us to cooperate at a particular level and compete at a different level. So they actually elevate what we're able to do, right? So they facilitate all of those, the competition and the cooperation. And they also enable choice for consumers and for vendors. And OpenSocial is the only community-driven standard that's out there today, with a robust open source ecosystem behind it that enables this and is driven by the community and is broadly accepted in the industry. How'd I do? Merci.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. At this rate, we're going to be early, and we're expected to be late. Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. I think there is a lot, and I want to say that we are starting these discussions with OpenSocials because we reckon there is a lot in common between OW2 and OpenSocial. Not only with some of the members being, we're sharing some members, but we also share some interest in the enterprise application delivery paradigm that they are talking about is something that is very important for us. I'm very pleased to welcome our next keynote speaker, an old friend and old hand in the open source market in France, Alexandre Zapolsky.